Today, a new push from Democrats on the House Oversight Committee for accountability over the slow release of the Epstein files. Democrats sending a letter to Republican Committee Chair James Comer demanding he bring Attorney General Pam Bondi to Capitol Hill to explain why the DOJ failed to release all the files by the December deadline mandated by law. Oversight Committee Ranking Member Robert Garcia today saying there could be surprises if the DOJ does not release everything.
There are whistleblowers within the Department of Justice. There is a bubble that continues to grow of people within our agencies that are frustrated and tired of all of this being hidden and not coming out. And so there's going to be a lot of people. I believe if the files aren't released and everything's not put on the table, you are going to have, I believe, people within the DOJ begin to call that out. And I think that Pam Bondi knows this, which is why they are working overtime and trying to cover their tracks right now.
Joining me here in the studio is Danielle Bensky. Danielle is a survivor of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. Thank you for being here. First of all, how are you feeling, Danielle, these days? How frustrated are you by this backlog of time since the middle of December when we were expecting to get everything and we've gotten 1% as of now? You start another year without the answers.
I mean, that number 1%, when we look at that, it's such a far cry from what survivors were hoping for. And this slow rollout has been incredibly frustrating for so many of us. And it just feels like another abuse of power. And I think, you know, at the heart of all exploitation is that power dynamic of vulnerability versus power. And it just feels like the same way we were abused by Epstein and there was so much manipulation, it sort of feels like that level of exploitation has never really ended for survivors.
DOJ will say, look, we are trying to protect victims. We're trying to make sure we put in the proper redactions, trying to do this very, very carefully, that we've got 400 attorneys, we've got 100 FBI agents doing all of this. Are you concerned about how long this could ultimately take and whether the files, when released, would be over-redacted? I wish I'd brought my prop from when they first came out. There were pages and pages and pages and pages of black. I would show our viewers, you know, almost incredulously.
Yeah, I mean, the whole grand jury testimony was just black, right? And so I think something that we have felt incredibly frustrated about is on some pages, it's heavily redacted, and then on other pages, you can find survivors' names. And so my last name's not there, but my first name was not redacted. So why the redactions are what they are is still a big misnomer to many of us. And I do think that is something that the DOJ should really answer for. I think we've talked a lot about a third-party oversight. And that is something that I think we really need. Some sort of...
Massey and Khanna want that too.
Exactly. And it feels like there is support. I mean, that is the beautiful thing about this has been we have seen members of both parties walk across the aisle. And that is incredible, and we need more of that. So I do feel like we are supported in this push for the OIG, but we need so much more.
In terms of oversight, does that also then come to saying someone's got to face accountability? And if that's part of it, whom do you want to see face accountability? Yeah,
I mean, I think survivors often get that name the names. And actually, many survivors have named names, but it didn't go through due process. And so we don't have any form of investigation without the files. So that was the whole push for the transparency of the files. If survivors get out there and compile a list and just say a bunch of names, it's not going to get us anywhere. So I think we really don't know the level of accountability that we even need to take until we can get all of these files released. And this slow drip is just, I mean, it's torture for a lot of us.
And putting names out there without the proof, without the context, and like some of these names might be powerful names.
Definitely.
How intimidating is that? Is that why you're really cautious about this and doing it the right way?
Yeah, I think survivors are very cautious about that, but I do think that an investigation is crucial here. And so the idea of subpoenaing Les Wexner and Indyke and Khan, like that is something that survivors have been pushing for a very long time. So we need more of that, more pressure, more subpoenas to get to the bottom of it. But I do think that we just really need to move through this the legal way. Otherwise, we're never, ever going to see real accountability.
A friend of mine, Dave Ehrenberg, was on the show in our 1 o'clock hour, and he was a 12-year state attorney for Palm Beach County. And at the end, he dropped a little bomb on me because he said, I don't think that we will see the full release of the files until after this administration walks out the door.
It was on Newsweek this week, too. I read an article about it and my heart sank. And I think, you know, we sent it into the Survivor Circle. And I think many of us are like, how is that possible? It's not legal. We passed a law and the law should be abided by. But it feels a bit lawless right now, if we're really honest. So, you know, we keep banging the drum, and it's a real thing for us that it's not political and that we do need the support from both sides to be able to just remember that it's an abuse of power, right? And we need to come back to leveling the playing field and protecting those that are vulnerable. We talk often about this is an Epstein and Maxwell story, but it's about survivors as a whole and about believing women at its core. And so we really need to take a step back out of the political arena, which is very hard. I mean, Donald Trump has said to us, you're a hoax, you know, a Democratic hoax. We're constantly pulled into this world of like, the Democrats are doing this, but that's not what's ever been at the heart of it for us. It's not about who's a Democrat or who is a Republican. It's about finding justice and finding accountability and making sure those in power are held to account. That's it.
Danielle Bensky, you are courageous. And by the way, beautiful. Pink is your color.
Thank you.
You just need to know. Very much your color. All right, Danielle, thank you for your time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.